Hey everyone, welcome to Race Speed. I am Matt. Last video I showed you guys the oil cooler I installed here on the EcoBoost Mustang, and I told you about some other mods that were coming with the radiator hoses, the charge pipes, and the new air intake, that kind of stuff that was going on. So all that stuff's come in. It's all been installed here on the RS1. Tested it a little bit, but I know you guys want to see what it all looks like, so it definitely changes the look of the engine bay quite a bit. So without further ado, let's get to that. I'll tell you a little bit more about what I did, why I did it, and what's coming up. Right. Now you can see I added a Ford Performance sticker there, removed the K&N sticker. I put this little air raid sticker on there, but you know what? It's kind of stupid looking now that I think about it, and we're going to remove it. Bam. All right. So we have the Mishimoto radiator hoses here and the Mishimoto charge pipes. So everything went in real easy and no problem, you know, transfer blow valves and stuff over. I mean, all that stuff's just disconnecting everything, drain the coolant, not a big deal. I got a hose and everything for that. Just get it up in the air, turn the little knob and let it drain out, and then once you get to the point you squeeze it a bit, kind of get the rest of it out, this will completely drain, and then you can start removing hoses, but just be prepared with a pan underneath to catch any fluid that came out. I got pretty lucky and I got very little fluid on the garage floor, but yeah, everything's good, everything's tightened down. I'm ready for the Mohawk track experience coming up here in a few days. And like I said, I tested it a bit, had no problems, and you can definitely feel the pull is so much different now that you have, these pipes here are just so much different. They're not flexing like the stock ones did. So it feels different. It's hard to explain. If you've done this modification, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's awesome. All right, now that I got everything done, cooling shouldn't be as much of an issue going forward. If it is, obviously I can do a radiator and things like that too, but maybe change over to a waterless coolant. A lot of different options, but like I said, so far pull is good. I ran a little bit to try to heat things up, and I was able to get to 220, and it wasn't going over that, but it was only like 88 degrees out with like 50% humidity, so it's not the 95 with 65% humidity that I struggled with on track the last couple times. Mohawk track experience coming up Tuesday. It's looking like it's gonna be like 84, about 65-70% humidity, parts throughout the day, but other than that, should be a decent day. I'm hoping to not have any heat issues. Obviously humidity and turbos don't go hand in hand. That's not boost weather, but I know that, and we'll see what happens. But Wednesday, it looks like it may rain in the afternoon, but the morning stays nice. It looks like it's gonna be a little cooler day, like mid 70s, high 70s at the most. Humidity right around the same though. So I'll have a couple different weather days to test and see how the car really performs in those. I'm hoping to actually get some logs this time around. That way I can get it over to Ryan Martin at PD Tuning, let him take a couple more looks at some track logs to see if we want to do anything else here with the tuning. Maybe things are running a little bit better now that, I have just some better equipment supporting all the rest of my modifications. That way, if, I'm making less heat, I can maybe make more power. I don't want to hurt the motor, and that's a big concern. So we're going to see what we can do, add a little more horsepower to this bad boy, and at the end of the year, like I said, once the season's over, I'll go ahead and I'm going to do dyno and quarter miles and all that kind of stuff to get some good numbers and let you guys know, hey, this is what a track built car can do, and still have some fun at the drag strip and go to a dyno day and still put down some respectable numbers. All right, now I'm hoping that these modifications, as well as the oil cooler, really help things out. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is the, I did mention I put the air intake on. I took the sticker out, but I didn't talk about the dang filter. So it is a bigger filter, and it's going to definitely bring in a lot more air than the stock one did, and that's going to be a good thing. This big tube needs to be fed. It's just plain and simple. It's a lot of area in there for air to fill up, and you need that compression, you need that to feed into the turbo, and that's what's going to give you your more consistent boost. So this is going to help out quite a bit. And again, having things non-flexing with charge pipes is going to be a huge thing too on the track. Now, I'm not sure what else I could do outside of changing out the radiator or going with like a waterless coolant system. I don't have any trans heat issues. The only codes I've gotten are from the engine for coolant and oil. Maybe the transmission wouldn't give me an over temperature warning, but I'm pretty sure it does. But I haven't had that issue yet. Did change the fluid out, you know, a month ago before the last track day. That made a huge difference on the shifts, much more crisp. So if you have an automatic transmission and it feels like maybe it's shifting a little slow, getting sluggish on you, take it to the dealership and have them, you know, do it for $200. They'll flush it out, put new fluid in there. Worked out really well for me. I definitely recommend that. Definitely recommend these Mishimoto products. Not everybody likes Mishimoto for whatever reason, but I've had their intercooler for almost 3 years now. Now I have the oil cooler, their charge pipes, radiator hoses, have the coolant overflow tank. A lot of Mishimoto parts on the car, and I think I may actually go with their downpipe as well, since I'm still running the stock downpipe. But we'll see, because eventually at some point in time when this car gets the built motor and stuff in it, a lot of the stuff is going to have to change out, and you know, I may just end up kind of dumping it just past there into a straight pipe or something, and you know, reducing as much weight as possible. So I don't know that I want to spend the extra money on something like that, but Mishimoto, if you're watching and you want to send me a downpipe for my 2015 Stage 1 EcoBoost Mustang, feel free. Thank you. But yeah, in the meantime, guys, I need to get out, test this stuff on track, because I will be at Gingerman Raceway for the Mohawk Track Experience August 14th and 15th. I'll be out there in the number 550 RS1 EcoBoost Mustang, ripping it up, hoping to set a new best lap time. Last year, I think I ran a 149 something. I'm hoping to get 146 or so at least. But until this thing gets turned up with the built motor, I'm making more like 450, 500 to the wheel. I don't expect to get to the, you know, the GT350R category. If you get out on track with somebody in an R that is skilled, this car is not going to keep up with them. It just doesn't have the horsepower. Even though it's lighter, it's just not going to keep up, because they have just as good of brakes, they have just as good of tires and everything else. So I don't have an advantage, I have a disadvantage. So when I am out on track and I am passing people on GT350s, it's usually because of the driver mod. And everybody starts at a different point. You know, you work your way up. My first time out, I was definitely not fast. I was slow. I had a lot to learn, had some great instruction. And you know, look at me now. I'm taking a little 4-cylinder EcoBoost Mustang, and I'm, you know, passing cars that usually you wouldn't see a car like this passing. Other guys that have the same type of cars are, you know, looking to me sometimes to say, you know, hey, what are you doing? Because, you know, you're faster than me at that track, and I need to learn something. So you guys know who you are. I appreciate you, because I mean, that gives me drive too. I want to make sure that I'm constantly getting better, because you're watching me, and then you can get better because you're learning as I'm learning. And that's the whole point. We all can grow together. We, again, all have different skill levels. We all have different budgets to race and do things. My budget is not as large as I would like it to be, but it's larger than others, so I'm not going to complain, and you know, I'm pretty happy. So anyways, guys, that's a nice walk around of the car, explanation of what's going on. Again, be at track in the next couple days. Can't wait, leaving tomorrow. So hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you're a new viewer, haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Click that red button and the notification bell. That way you can catch up and keep up with race speed. See you next video. Thanks for watching.